What if the ghost of Sparta became the guardian of Sparta? What if the man who broke the Greek world was destined to rebuild it? Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and overlooked possibilities in God of War lore, the idea that Kratos may one day return to Greece, not as destroyer, but as its rebuilder. And the mythology behind this theory, it runs deeper than most players realize. You're watching MythMode, where we break down the hidden lore, mythology, and storytelling behind God of War and other myth-heavy games. Let's jump in. When Kratos walked away from Greece, at the end of God of War 3, he left behind a land shattered by his own vengeance. The seas were in chaos, the skies were torn apart, and famine, plague, and madness spread across the land. But here's the detail fans often forget. The world does not stay broken forever. Not in Greek mythology, not in the cyclical structure of God of War's own storytelling. In fact, the Greek world is hinted, even expected, to eventually repair itself. The deaths of the Olympians caused destruction, yes, but destruction in Greek myth nearly always leads to renewal. And that puts Kratos in a very interesting position. In God of War 2018, Kratos tells Atreus he came from a land of united realms, a reference to Greece, and that he left because I had no choice. He never once claims Greece is gone. He never once claims it's uninhabited. He avoids speaking of it because it brings him pain. But geography doesn't disappear. People don't vanish. Civilizations don't simply evaporate. The Greek world exists as surely as Midgard or Vanaheim. And given enough time, Greek civilization would have attempted to rebuild itself, even without a pantheon. And that leaves one looming question. What role would Kratos play if he returned? Quick pause. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Kratos' possible return to Greece, hit like and drop a comment. Should Kratos rebuild Greece or leave his past behind for good? Let's get back into it. Here's where mythology drops its first major clue. In Greek myth, chaos and destruction usually give rise to a new order, a new age. When the Titans fell, the Olympians rose. When the Olympians died, the world entered a natural cycle of disorder. But mythology also hints that the gods are never truly destroyed. Their aspects can return, evolve, or be inherited. Kratos, an ex-god, a survivor of a dead pantheon, might be the perfect bridge to a new era. Imagine Greece centuries later, cities rebuilt over ruins, new rulers, new beliefs, new conflicts. But lingering instability from the divine upheaval. This creates the perfect narrative seed for Kratos' return. Kratos' transformation in the Norse saga wasn't just emotional, it was symbolic. He learned restraint, mercy, patience, leadership, and most importantly, purpose. For the first time, Kratos envisions a life defined by creation, not destruction. In the Ragnarok mural, he sees worship, not out of fear, but respect. A community built around hope, not fear. Now imagine Kratos walking through the broken homeland he abandoned centuries ago. Old temples collapsed, olive trees grown through shattered marble, sun-drenched ruins echoing memories he fought so hard to forget. But instead of rage, he feels responsibility, a chance to rebuild what he helped break. Not through divine rule, but through guidance, mentorship, strength used for protection, not dominance. He could become a mythic figure similar to Heracles after his labors, Theseus after uniting Attica, Solon, the wise reformer. A hero who repairs the world, not just defends it. Here's where things get really interesting. Greek mythology isn't static, it evolves. Cultures reinvent their gods over centuries. New cults arise. Old stories are retold. A post-Kratos Greece could introduce 1. New gods born from the void. With the Olympians gone, the primordial gods, like Nyx, Erebus, Gaia, could stir. New deities or demigods could rise to fill the power vacuum. 2. Mortal kingdoms seeking stability. Human rulers might turn territories into city-states again. Sparta, Athens, Thebes, each vying for control, each with their own philosophies and ambitions. 3. Monsters filling the power gap. Without divine oversight, creatures like Chimera, Gorgons, and giants could reemerge. All of these create narrative tension that, well, practically begs for Kratos to intervene, not as a god, not as a tyrant, but as a wandering protector ensuring Greece doesn't collapse back into chaos. The biggest question isn't can Kratos return? It's why would he? And narratively, the reason is powerful. Closure. Kratos has spent 2 entire arcs haunted by Greece, its memories, its ghosts, its failures. Returning is the final step of his healing. He could visit Sparta's ruins, acknowledge the people he lost, forgive himself, honor those affected by his past, and finally stand in his homeland without shame. It's the last piece of his transformation into a truly redeemed character. There's a powerful symmetry to all of this. Kratos destroyed the gods of Greece, then learned the value of a god who protects, not controls, then became the foundation of a new era in the Norse world. Bringing that wisdom back home creates a fascinating narrative loop. Imagine the final sequence of a hypothetical game. Kratos helps unify the fractured Greek lands. He helps mortals build new cities. He prevents new threats, divine or monstrous, from ruining the reborn world. He sets in motion a stable new age. And then, quietly, he walks away. Not as a fleeing exile, but as a hero whose journey has finally come full circle. The ghost of Sparta becomes the guardian of Greece. So how could Santa Monica Studio actually tell this story? Possibility 1. A standalone Return to Greece game. Kratos travels back, discovers Greece in political/monstrous turmoil, and plays a mentor/protector role. Possibility 2. Atreus requests the journey. Atreus may want to know his father's origins, and Kratos finally decides he's ready. Possibility 3. A new threat emerges. Primordial beings or reborn Olympians could rise, forcing Kratos to confront the consequences of his past actions. Possibility 4. Kratos helps create a new pantheon, not as a member, but as someone who helps mortals establish divine order or cultural stability. Any of these directions would respect both Kratos' growth and God of War's mythological depth. Kratos began as a ghost, became a god, became a monster, and then a father, a mentor, and a symbol of hope. A return to Greece would be more than a journey. It would be the final chapter of a man learning not how to destroy a world, but how to rebuild one. If you want more deep lore breakdowns and mythological theories like this, make sure you're subscribed to MythMode. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your myths guide your mode.